Welcome to another round of coffee and donuts. I'm Frank, the training director over here at Armageddon for Law Enforcement, and this is where I answer your questions about the police hiring process and the career in general. Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started, if you want your questions answered, we answer every question on our social platform, so you can just leave it there. If you have something specific or private that you want to ask, you can go over to our website and scroll down to the bottom of the main page, and you will see a contact form where you can submit it there. Also, we have a new blog out that we're posting in every week, and that has some expansive knowledge from not just the police hiring process, but success in the academy, success in FTO, and success in the entire career. Now, I have these questions submitted over here. Let's take a look at them and get started. First one, I have a pending foreclosure and a couple of overdue bills. I had a life change, that threw me off my perfect credit track. I am now trying to fix everything. Will the foreclosure be a disqualifying factor? Um, yes, it could. Um, so a foreclosure from the standpoint is just a home or a property repossession, or even a kind of collections notice that, well, yeah, I mean, it's technically past the collections notice and it's went into foreclosure or went into repossession. And those are major red flags. I'm not saying it's immediately going to DQ you, but it's definitely going to come up, and it's going to be um, a very difficult hurdle for you to overcome. Articulation is about your only shot at this, explaining, and I'll kind of give you my best guidance right now without having the details, but explain why you fell into a financial hardship. And once again, be specific, don't elaborate here. So explain that you fell into a financial hardship. Hopefully that wasn't something that was self-induced, but outside factors that will help right outside your control. But you went into a financial hardship. Ultimately, your property and other bills became an issue, and you're currently in the process of resolving all that right now. Part of it is foreclosure and pretty much surrendering the property, right? I'd stay away from the term repossession, but surrendering the property. If you can prevent this from happening, which I wish the best for you, I really do. But if you can prevent this from happening, that would look better at than having it foreclosed upon. And then all you're articulating is the financial hardship and how you fell behind on bills, but now you're caught back up, or you got caught back up. And it wouldn't take it away, but it would definitely remediate some of the concerns the department will have. But I apologize that you're going through this. I'm sorry to hear that. It's never ideal situation to hear that someone's having financial struggles to this point, but I wish you the best, and hopefully you can get it taken care of. And then at that point in time, no, this one factor isn't going to DQ you from ever becoming a police officer, but it will be a factor right now if this proceeding is currently going on. All right, next question. Once you purchase, this is a question about our online course. Once you purchase the Getting Hired as a Police Officer package, how soon do you begin discussing your journey? When you say your journey, do you mean your journey or my journey? I'll walk you through the Getting Hired as a Police Officer. That's our online course, right? That is a self-paced, self-studied program. A little side note, if you're catching this in time, the uh, the price of it is going up, so grab it now. And you're getting more with it. Anyway, I'm getting into things that I'm not supposed to be telling you about just yet. You're going to get me in trouble. But anyway, the grab it now. That's all I'm going to say. And you're going to get way more access than previous. And if you do have our Getting Hired as a Police Officer online course, pay attention, because in the next couple weeks, you are going to get some additional access that I think you're going to love. Anyway, I digress. I'm not allowed to be telling you this. So in that's our self-paced course. And what it is it has a breakdown that's not of kind of in-depth information that may apply to you. Plus, you get access to Leo 1.0, which is our AI assistant in there, and you can ask them questions, and you get access to some of like our mock trainings, our mock interviews, our mock polygraphs, our mock psychological interviews, things along those lines. I do use, if you're asking me about my journey, which I don't think you are, But I do use little snippets of my personal journey in law enforcement from hiring to even success, or career growth, I should say, in there as well. But for you to discuss your journey, that typically doesn't happen because it's just an online course. You know what? I'm going to get in trouble. I don't care. So it is an online course. However, coming really soon within the next couple weeks, individuals that do have access to our online course are going to get access to our community page. Now, you're not going to have access to sign up for calls with instructors other than, our free coaching call that we offer, uh, on our other videos. But and that's something different. But anyway, I digress. The you will have access to a feed where you can ask instructor questions and things like that. The one caveat um, that I will say to this is, for the online course, it's still 100% self-paced, right? 100% self-paced. Yes, you'll, with the new access to the community, you will be able to ask, in our Ask the Instructor feed. Obviously, that's not, those instructors aren't going to be sitting there. There's not an instructor assigned to that at all times. It's when an instructor has free moment, they go in, they see a new question, and then they go in and they answer that question. It's a little bit more direct access, but you will get to share and get information from other community members and some of those members are even in the coaching programs as well. So they'll be able to share some knowledge and insight there with you. But for discussing your journey, that sounds like you're asking more about our coaching programs. That's something completely different than our getting hired as a police officer online course, soon to be course/community access. But if uh, if anyone says anything, you didn't hear it from me. All right, next question. I applied for a position as a deputy. I admitted to stealing when I was 14 once. Told them I felt guilty since then, and told them I felt guilty since then, and they laughed about it and were happy I was honest. Absolutely. So here's what I want to say to this. This is why I tell everyone never lie, ever. Never, ever lie. You don't have to, right? So 14, I don't know how old this individual is right now, but 14, I'm assuming, I'm just going to make a reasonable assumption and say that they are 21 now, right? So that's 7 years. That's my golden number for any hurdle. It's not a mandatory number, but I love that number if you're 7 years away from a hurdle. They were honest and upfront, so much to the point that the hiring officials or the evaluators laughed at this individual, right? Like it's silly. Now stealing isn't silly, right? You should never steal. And yes, it looks good if you don't have that on your background. But at the same point in time, we understand that individuals make mistakes, specifically when they're still not even fully developed and they're still children and things along those lines. We get that. Now, some mistakes are harder to come back from than others, and some mistakes you can't come back from at all. But for the most part, something like this, like a minor, I guess, petty theft, that I'm assuming is what it was, right? Once again, that's an assumption. That's not going to, one time use 7 years ago or more is not going to immediately disqualify you. Matter of fact, if you're honest about it and you can articulate it well and why it occurred, it's not going to disqualify you at all. And chances are you'll get right over that hurdle. But if you don't disclose it, when they find out about it, you will be permanently DQ'd for omission or potentially permanently DQ'd. And then the other aspect with that too is then they can share that with other departments. So if they say, hey, yeah, this person lied to us and we found out, so they lied by omission or they just straight up lied to us, then at that point in time, that might be just a snowball effect that goes from department to department. Not always, but it's a pretty fair chance. I'd say 50-50. Having this is not really a question, but I like this comment because it allows me to kind of deep dive into it and show you just exactly what the department felt about this. The department said, hey, obviously we're not just dismissing this, right? Don't do it. You shouldn't steal. But at the same point in time, we appreciate that you were honest and and you showed remorse, right? You were that humble professional, like, hey, yes, I did make a mistake. You're upfront about it. I felt so guilty about it, right? There's your remorse. That department can move forward with you, right? So I love this question, or excuse me, this comment, even though it's not a question, because it allows me to deep dive into a little bit more training with you individually. And I love these specific examples because you'd be surprised how many people may have this exact example. Maybe they were 13, maybe they were 17, maybe they were 5, right? Maybe they were, 23 and now they're 37. It just, you'd be surprised how many people have a similar situation to this, and they're nervous, they're scared to apply, or I shouldn't say scared, but reluctant or hesitant because I think this one little mistake or indiscretion will prevent them from getting this position, and that's just not the case. It can if you do it wrong and you misarticulate it, but typically it won't if you articulate it properly and you're honest. Okay. I hope you enjoyed these questions. If you want your question answered, as I said before, you can leave a question on any of our social platforms. We answer them all over there. If you have something more personal that you want to send to us, you can go over to our website page, scroll down to the bottom, and you will see our contact form. You can ask any question there privately, and we answer those questions first. Our blog is open. We're answering questions in there as well, but we also have new postings every week in there for different trainings for you. So it's not just on our other social platforms, it's over there. So you can see additional academy prep as well as FTO prep and career success. Hope this helps again. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.